All right, first step in closing the pool. You need to drain the water down below the jets. Okay, when I say jets, we'll see them in action later, but those suckers, right? So the water needs to go at least below them. I normally go about a foot lower, I guess. So let's go ahead and start that process. I'll just show you what I normally do is just disconnect the cleaner as low as I can. So I take it out of the pool, disconnect it, and then let the pump pull the water out so I don't have to siphon it. Siphoning it would take about a day. So doing it this method, it'll take a few hours, half a day, I guess. All right, let's do it. All right, so all I did was unscrew this piece right here from that plastic tube. It's kind of weird. It just with friction goes on. There's no threads or anything. You just force it on and just screw it on. So I just unscrewed that, and then I'm gonna pop this piece off right here, and that's where the water's gonna come out. All right, so general operation of the pool equipment. All right, so this top piece right here, or timer, is for the pump. I'm sorry, it's the auxiliary pump, which powers the rover. This timer down here is what powers the pump itself. Green is start, red is stop. So, and you'll see it's going this way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the stop off, because right now I don't care about it. And then I'm just gonna hook it up here. So, and I think you can get these from a pool store. But anyway, so because I'm gonna be closing the pool, I don't care about it turning off. I'm gonna turn it off manual. This right here is your temperature gauge. So what you're doing is you're making sure that if the water starts to freeze, that the pump kicks on, and as long as it's moving, it's not going to freeze over and cause problems. I've never had it cause a problem because this works. And I also close the pool, so even if it froze, it wouldn't be an issue. So anyway, here, to turn it on, you just twist this counterclockwise. And this is what happens. All right, it's running right now. And we're gonna just watch the water come out here. All right, so we're just gonna let this drain, and always put something on this line, otherwise it'll slap around and hit things. So just let it run for a few hours until the water level drops. Another thing to do is go ahead and skim the top, all the debris you see, skim it. One more thing here is, you see how the valves are pointing? These are all open, right? These are open because the off is pointing nowhere, okay? So if you'll see here, we're pointing towards both the shallow end skimmer and the deep end skimmer are on. We're gonna turn those off. Not right now because I want it to skim it a little bit, but if it goes below the skimmers, it'll have a starvation of water, and then you'll end up having a problem with the pump. So we'll just turn these off probably in about 30 minutes. But basically what I do is I turn the pump off first, and then I turn this off toward this line. So I'm just gonna turn this 90 degrees, and that will just pull in from the bottom of the pool, okay? Sorry, I forgot to say that we also turn this on. Here's the start and the stop on these, and it tells you basically it's going clockwise, right? And so this is how you turn it on. Once that's on, the pool's going to empty a little bit faster because that's the auxiliary pump, or what they call a booster pump. So anyway, we're just going to let that go. And once the water's dropped, I'll show you what I do next. Okay, this is after 3.5 hours. So I'll probably just let it go another hour. It won't be a foot, maybe it'll be about 8 inches or something, maybe 2 hours from now before we do the next step. Okay, so we're about, I don't know, that's probably about 6 inches from the jets. And so we'll go ahead and turn that off. And now what we want to do is turn the power off so it doesn't turn on by mistake. So this is for the pump and this is for the booster. This, oh my gosh. Okay, so this is the pump. This is the booster pump. This is for this outlet down here. Sorry. Okay, that outlet right there. Now you'll see that it might be a bit difficult to use it. You may have to cut or remove the board and kind of frame it out a little bit for a plug, but you could get around from the back side if you really wanted to. I haven't really needed it because there's one right next to where the pond is, but anyway, yeah, so that's what you do. You make sure that this stays off so it doesn't accidentally come on and then burn your pump up. All right, and so next step is we take this off. There's a basket in there. We pull the basket. We also drain this. This is where your cartridge filters are. So we're just going to open this up. Water's going to come out, drop below this level. I'm going to pull this band off, pull the top off, pull the cartridges out, and then we come over to here. We open this up. I don't think I can do it one-handed, maybe. No. Okay, hold on. All right, so the see down there, those are where the chlorine tablets go. We're about out. There's still some in there. I'm gonna pull these pieces out and then put them in. There's like there's a little, I don't know, it's like a flow through chlorinator that I'm gonna actually stick into the pool when I put the top on it. So I'll show that when I get to that point. Right there is your tablets down in that thing right there. You want to fill these up every couple of weeks, make sure that they're topped off. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this stage. I'll show you how the pool cover goes on as soon as I get that ready. All right, while the pool is, or the cartridge filter thing is, the pump is draining up, I always pull this out. And it just comes straight off. All right, and then what we want to do is we want to take this off because we have a cap that goes on top of it. The rest of them use a plug, which is like a piece of rubber with a wing nut on it, 2 washers on a bolt. They use some sort of compression to do that, but this right here screws in. So we're just gonna let this drain, and then we're gonna blow all the lines out with a shop vac. All right, I'm at one of the skimmers. So what you do is you pull the basket out, and this is really a 2-person job because you need 1 person to be at where the shop vac is, which is all the way over there where the pump is, and then 1 person here watching it. And so we'll get 1 person to blow the air through here until all the water will like come up into where there's like barely any water, like it's just air coming up, and then you just shove this down and you turn it, and it just provides like that block you need. Another way of doing it is to go ahead and pull all this water out that you can. Again, you could use a shop vac to do that. I've never done that, and I've never had a problem. All right, so this is a 9/16 gear wrench that I'm using right here to undo this band. It doesn't take but a second. It takes longer when you're trying to put it back on because of the tension. I normally take a dead blow hammer and knock it pretty close into position before I go ahead and start wrenching on this thing. So anyway, take that free and this band just pulls off. So, all right, so the way you take this thing off, you see this handle right here and one on the other side, you rock it back and forth and it comes straight up. Right, you want to pay attention to here because there's an O-ring that sits here, and if you lose that O-ring, your pressure won't build up. So anyway, I'm just gonna pull this off and then I'll show you the O-ring. All right, so you see it right there. And when you put it back on, you want to make sure that sucker's in this little groove that's right there, and it'll find its way home. But I've had to replace this O-ring a couple times just because of messing around with it. It ends up getting like kinked or something. So if you ever have any problems with like pressure, check that sucker. All right, so these are the cartridge filters. This is the way they sit. There's a little tray at the bottom that holds them, and you spin it around. You basically get it centered like this, and then you put that white manifold on top of it. Okay, so I'm gonna pull these out, and then I'll probably just put these in the garage, and once they dry, you can knock all the debris off of them. But before you put them back in, I would just wash them really well. There's a couple ways of doing that online you can find. What I did is I just fill up a trash can with some, there's like the degreasing thing you can get at the pool store solution, and I just put it in there and then just let them sit overnight, and then rinse them off and then put them back in. All right, okay, so next up. All right, I pulled the basket out of here. Maybe you could just make sure this is all cleaned off before you put it back together at the beginning of the season. But anyway, the basket, the way it goes in, there's a little notch here. The basket goes in and fits in that notch. It only goes in one way. You can also tell because there's a hole in the basket where this is the way the water comes in from the pool. All right, I was wrong about my last, this right here is the outside outlet. This right here is your booster pump. So just make sure these 1, 2, and 3 are off. Sorry, 1, 2, and 3 are off. You can leave this one on. All right, so here's where I'm putting the shop vac in, and you'll want to like do one of the skimmers at a time. So you turn on the shop vac, blows air throughout, and you just do the shallow end and then do the deep end, or vice versa. It doesn't really matter, but you want to make sure that you have this thing turned. I guess you turn this off to this side. So you undo this, turn that this way, and then back over here, and then just always lock them back in. You don't need to. And turn this like this. I'm gonna do the deep end first. All right, that's good enough. All right, and then I'll show you what it looks like on the other side. All right, you'll see that it's pretty much, it's not shooting any more water up. I mean, there's like a couple of drops that will still fly up, but now is when you want to plug it, and you just stick that thing down in there and screw it down until it stops. That's really all you need to do there. And then I'll take this basket and then stick it on top just so I don't lose it. All right, so I'm gonna do that, and then I'll get back here. All right, so you see now it's all locked in there, really nice. And just put this on top, and then stick the cover back on, you're good. Now do the same thing with the shallow end. All right, so that does it for the skimmers. Now for the jets, it's pretty easy actually. You just, well, first of all, you're gonna cut off all the flow except to the cleaner line. I mean, this can be done in any order, but this is the way I do it, is I just go ahead and unhook that. Oh, by the way, normal operation, you don't want the cleaner to get like 100% or even 50% flow, right? So you wanna probably do 25%, which is what this is. So like this would be 50-50. You wanna do 25-75. That makes sense. Just because you're using a booster, you don't need to give it that much. Anyway, okay, so the way I do it is I cut this off. Looks like that. Well, stupid valve. There we go. Okay, now that that's off, I'm just gonna blow the air out of that first, okay? So here we go. And the way I do it is by putting this sucker in there and flipping it on. Now I have to hold it, so I'm not going to be able to record it. But anyway, that's how it works. This whole process will be done the same way, holding this on while manipulating that until all the water comes out of those jets. So here I go. All right, no more water. So now I'm gonna take this off and then put a cap on it. All right, it's all capped off. And now to do the jets, other jets rather. All right, so I can't do this, but I'll just show you kind of how I do it. You just stick this sucker in, and you hold it in place all the way in, probably about 1/8 of an inch sticking out. And then you tighten this wing nut, and it causes this to push out against the pipe and holds in place and doesn't allow water in it. That's basically the concept. These have to be replaced like once every year or two. They're stainless steel, but they're still rust. And once you get metal in your water, you have to then get it out because it will stain. So anyway, you just want to make sure that these suckers are in good condition before you close the pool. All right, here I go. Okay, it's all good to go. All the air's been blown out. Now I'll put this back together. I put this pump lid back on. I put the band back on, but I didn't tighten it down because there's no filters in here. There'll be in the garage, like I said. This, I'm just gonna set it back to where it needs to be. Everything else should be good. I'm gonna clean this out too before I stop, just to make sure. I think one time I left them in there, and I think it caused some rust to show up on the inside here. I actually ended up replacing the band on it, so you'll see some residue in there. It's nothing to be worried about. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Now to put the cover on, I'm gonna give you the